When we're in trouble, we might feel like our greatest need is to get out of the bind that we find ourselves in. And we should seek relief from our problems. But Psalm 141 teaches us that a godly response to trouble includes integrity in the midst of trouble. David is in serious trouble in this psalm. His first words convey urgency. O Lord, I call upon you. Hasten to me. Give ear to my voice when I call to you. Near the end of the psalm, it becomes clear that he feared a trap laid by evildoers. The situation felt dire, as if his bones were about to be cast into the grave. David, of course, isn't against divine chastening. He only wishes for just judges, not evil ones, as he says in verse 5. And so he prays for deliverance. He looks to God as his refuge and defense. He believed that under God's administration of justice, his enemies' schemes might very well sow the seeds of their own destruction. So in this psalm, we see David praying for deliverance from trouble. But in addition to this request, he also prays for personal faithfulness while under duress. Set a guard, O Lord, he says in verse 3, over my mouth. Keep watch over the door of my lips. That's a thoughtful prayer request, isn't it? When we feel threatened, we sometimes weaponize our speech. We misrepresent facts, often by exaggerating our opponent's faults. We substitute passion for reason. When others hurt us, we feel justified responding in kind, giving them verbal mistreatment. Haven't we all regretted saying harsh words spoken in the heat of the moment? Adversity, then, is a divine invitation to pray for sound speech that cannot be condemned, as Paul says to Titus in chapter 2, verse 8. But David goes even deeper. He isn't simply praying for the strength to bite his tongue and not say all the terrible things he's thinking. He prays that the Lord would guard his heart and his mind. He says in verse 4, do not let my heart incline to evil. Don't let me even lean toward thinking evil thoughts. He knows that even a vengeful heart is wrong. He also certainly knew that our inner deportment almost always steers our actions, no matter how hard we resist. And so he prays for godliness in his heart and his mind in the midst of trouble and adversity, resisting revenge even in thought. Psalm 141 then teaches us to pray with intensity when we're in trouble. We may be direct with God, even bold and firm as David is here, but only if our prayers are right. David believed that this prayer for deliverance and for godliness in the midst of difficulty, he believed that prayer would please God. He says in verse 2, let my prayer be counted as incense before you, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. So he's comparing his prayer to sanctuary worship. So Matthew Henry says about this psalm, about David's thoughts here, those that pray in faith may expect that it will please God better than an ox or a bull, better than an offered sacrifice. Intense prayers are no use if they lack integrity. The prayers that God is pleased to answer are both sincere and correct. Let's learn, with God's help, from this psalm even, to pray this way. Here is Psalm 141. A psalm of David. O Lord, I call upon you, hasten to me. Give ear to my voice when I call to you. Let my prayer be counted as incense before you, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Set a guard, O Lord, over my mouth. Keep watch over the door of my lips. Do not let my heart incline to any evil, to busy myself with wicked deeds, in company with men who work iniquity. And let me not eat of their delicacies. Let a righteous man strike me, it is kindness. Let him rebuke me, it is oil for my head. Let my head not refuse it. Yet my prayer is continually against their evil deeds. When their judges are thrown over the cliff, then they shall hear my words, for they are pleasant. As when one plows and breaks up the earth, so shall our bones be scattered at the mouth of Sheol. But my eyes are toward you, O God, my Lord. In you I seek refuge. Leave me not defenseless. Keep me from the trap that they have laid for me and from the snares of evildoers. Let the wicked fall into their own nets while I pass by safely.